Going on, everybody? It's your boy C Money, and I'm here doing a live podcast with my boy NEBE for tonight's WWE Payback live this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And speaking of the man of the hour, ladies and gentlemen, he is the irresistible force of podcasting, NEBE.
Hi, C-Money. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, my friend. I am doing well. I'm glad to hear your voice. Since the last podcast we did, it was pretty. It's been a pretty crazy last couple weeks, I should say, for pro wrestling. Has it not been?
Y- Yeah, it sure has. Oh, and by the way, I have to start off by giving you credit, uh, 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 because you said the Mandy Rose Sonya Deville match uh, last week was a loser leaves WWE match, and I thought it was a hair versus hair match. So sorry about that. My mistake. Uh, uh, you were uh, uh, you were right, and I was wrong.
Hey, no, it's okay. Because what I read, I didn't think was right anyway. Because I thought I remembered hearing it was a hair versus hair match, and when I was reading it, I was like, I don't know if this is even right, and I feel not confident about even bringing it up. But hey, it was what it was. All good. But I was hoping you were gonna go ahead and just give me a standing ovation for the series the Los Angeles Lakers just went through with the Portland
Yeah.
Trailblazers, moving on to the semi-conference of the Western Conference Finals, or playoffs, I
Yeah.
should say.
Congratulations. You guys are going to play the winner of the Thunder Ro- Ro- Rockets a, a, se- series.
Um, Honestly, I want to see them play the Thunder because I think that team is going to be more competitive. Just because I believe Russell Westbrook is hurt and he's not 100%, and it's looking like Houston is going to have to rely a lot more on James Harden, as they did, I believe, the last 2 years they were in the playoffs. And it seems like this year is the same thing for them, and it's really upsetting that a lot of our favorite players this year in the playoffs got hurt. Damian Lillard dislocated his finger. Last night, Hassan Whiteside dislocated his finger in the game against the Lakers. Um, Russell Westbrook has a hurt quad. So everyone's beaten up and banged up. Luka Doncic has a sprained ankle. Porzingis' knees are shot, and is not playing against the Los Angeles Clippers in this game right now that is going on currently. And it's really disappointing just because I wish we could see these guys at their best, but they go through long, grueling seasons, 82 games in a season, and even with this COVID break, there's still players that haven't recovered from injuries or
Right.
newer injuries turning up, but I wish the best for everyone that's participating in the bubble. NEBE, before we move on, I would
Yeah.
like to just dedicate this podcast to Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman is most known for playing the Black Panther. Also, he played Jackie Robinson in 42. And I just wanted to dedicate this podcast to him. I woke up yesterday with a real sharp pain in my stomach after I had read that post, and my heart just dropped because none of us knew. He didn't want any of us to know. He kept it very private. But I do want to dedicate this episode to Chadwick Boseman.
Uh, it's awfully nice of you to do that, and my condolences to his family.
Yeah, my condolences and prayers to his family. With that being said, Nebby, we have WWE Payback live from the Thunderdome at the Amway Center from Orlando, Florida. And before we get started, Nebby, would you mind hooking us up all with our New Day intro?
It would be my honor and pleasure.
Nebby, the floor is yours, sir. Whenever you are ready, please do what you do.
Thank you so much. All Victorious Sports Podcast. Don't you dare be sour. Clap for your host, C-Money, and his guest, Nebby, and feel the power.
It's a new podcast. Yes, yes, it is. That's right. Your boys are back, live in full effect, talking WWE Payback. Nebby, we're kicking it off with Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan versus the Iconics. We both just did our iconic pose. You guys can't see it because we're on the radio. It's all good, though. Nebby, your thoughts on Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan's relationship and how it's gone so up and down. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Well, it has indeed gone up and down, and it'll be intriguing to see whether or not Ruby and Liv are going to be on the same page tonight. I think that this is going to be a good match, and I think that the Iconics are going to win.
You know what? I'm glad that we have the Iconics back, and I think starting tonight is what we are going to see them start to steamroll through the women's division, because I think we're going to get a riff, maybe not this pay-per-view, but I think soon, of how they're trying to figure out how they can break up Sasha and Bayley. And I think what starts that breakup is the loss of the one thing that they feel like they're the best of, and that's the women's tag team champions. And I think that will be due to the Iconics, and I think the Iconics have won. I think they're the best tag team that they have in the women's division. They've just come back, and I think their biggest tests are going to be really through two teams that were put together and that aren't really teams. One being Natalya and Lana, which I think is underrated because they're not getting as much TV time as maybe they should, but I think they will soon. And that second team being what we see tonight in Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott.
Yeah, well, this should be an intriguing match, and as I said earlier, I expect the Iconics to win this match.
And with that being said, the only member left of our favorite tag team, the New Day, Big E, is holding it down versus Sheamus tonight. Big E, Nebby, received the blessing from both Xavier Woods, who tore his Achilles, and from Kofi Kingston, who was also hurt, to go ahead and go on this singles run, but to make sure that he represents the New Day as he does it and tries to make the boys proud. Big E has been on SmackDown a lot lately, getting his singles run, but recently he has run into one Sheamus, who's been going around bullying everybody since he's been back, and I think this is going to be Sheamus's biggest test since he has returned, but I am still going to roll with Big E in this one-on-one match between two meaty individuals. In Big E's words, it's just two big pieces of meat slapping up against each other. And Nebe, your thoughts on Big E versus Sheamus, and how Big E's holding it down by himself with a New Day, or without the New Day, I should say.
I just wanted to say that I have been impressed with Big E's singles runs so far. He's done real well for himself, and I'm sure he'll keep it up. That said, I have a feeling, and I hope I'm 100% wrong, but that said, I have a feeling that Sheamus is going to win this match.
Dang, I mean, honestly, Sheamus has been on a tear since he's returned. I mean, just going through everybody, every time I turn around, it's just a bro kick here, a bro kick there, a bro kick everywhere, and I can't say this is going to be easy for Big E, but I do believe this is going to be the start of Big E on a true singles run. And first, he's going to have to prove himself against a former champion in Sheamus, and I think that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah. By the way, although I could be wrong, I expect Kofi Kingston to be back soon because he said he would be out for 6 weeks, and it's been almost 6 weeks since Kofi said he would be out. So although I could be wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kofi this Friday night on SmackDown.
That's a good observation. I did not remember how long Kofi said he would be out, but I'm glad to hear that he is returning soon. By the way, Nebe, I am streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/cmoney240, our podcast right now. And in the stream chat right now, I have a guest. It is Raven. She is right now at the hospital, but she sent a message in the chat wanting me to let you know that she says hello and to make sure that she said hi to Nebe.
Okay. Thanks for the message. Please tell her I said hi. That I'm doing well, and I hope she makes a speedy and full recovery, and that we love her.
I'll definitely let her know. I'm sure she'll see this and hear this live and get the message ASAP. Nebe, we have Dominic and Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. The Monday Night Messiah has been tormenting the Mysterio family for months now, and here tonight at Payback, we are finally getting the tag team of Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus the Monday Night Messiah and Murphy. How do you see this turning out for the father and son duo versus the Monday Night Messiah and his follower Murphy? I just can't see this going any different than we've seen it going in the past.
are going to win this match. That said, I've been very impressed with uh, Dominic Mysterio so far. I think he's done out out well.
Can I tell you something? Did you watch NXT Takeover 30?
No.
Oh man, I wanted to ask you who had a better weekend between Pat McAfee or Dominic Mysterio in their WWE debut. But I'll send you highlights of that match between Adam Cole and Pat McAfee, just so you can see it. Just because I really feel like Pat McAfee surprised everyone in that match, and it was a pleasant surprise, I must say. But going back to the Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio versus the Monday Night Messiah and his follower and disciple Murphy, I just feel like they are too much for the young rookie and the veteran. I do want to see Dominic and Rey together, but I don't know. Also, one more thing, Dominic came out in like this like vest with the hood on, kind of like AJ, but I feel like he has like a mask or something like that on the hood of his vest, but he totally forgot to wear it and put it on. He wore it down the entire time. It made no sense to me of why it was even there if that was the case. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Well, Nebby, what would you say if I told you that Keith Lee is going against a legend? Not just a legend, but a legend killer. And won the Viper, Randy Orton, tonight in his first main roster pay-per-view. How do you feel Keith Lee is going to fare against the legend killer, Randy Orton, who has been dominant and destructive ever since WrestleMania?
I expect this match to be a competitive match, and I expect Randy Orton to come out on top, because I think he's going to get another crack at the WWE champion ship. I think he's going to wrestle the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre, for the WWE champion ship. At Clash of Champions.
Damn, Nebby calling it already. He said Clash of Champions. Randy Orton, look out, because he's fitting to go ahead and get a shot at the chip. I love Keith Lee and what he did in his work in NXT, but now he is a little fish in a big-ass pond, and he is going against the ultimate test. And I think Keith Lee will remember the match that he has with Randy Orton tonight, because this is what's going to set the bar for Keith Lee from now on when he wrestles anybody else. Because I do believe Randy Orton is going to punt Keith Lee into the second or third row, and he will walk away the victor in this match, proving why not only he should be the WWE champion, but why he is the number one contender and why he is going to defeat Drew McIntyre. I don't know when. I hope it's before WrestleMania, because I'm over the reign of Drew McIntyre. I feel like Drew McIntyre is one of those guys who needs the fans to rely on to push him and pump him up, where Randy Orton clearly doesn't need that. He is a professional in everything he does. And I love Keith Lee, but Randy Orton, I believe, is going to take this.
I agree. But by the way, I've got a question for you.
Please.
Are you surprised that, considering the Universal Champion ship is going to be defended tonight, are you surprised that Drew McIntyre is not defending the WWE champion ship tonight?
Which is another reason why I don't feel like Drew McIntyre should be the champion. And because if this was John Cena would find a way to get on this card, even though he wrestled last week at SummerSlam. Now, obviously, there's no other feud for Drew to go back on, but I mean, damn, I feel like they could throw Dolph Ziggler at Drew McIntyre. They could throw one of these young guns from NXT against Drew McIntyre for a one-shot. I mean, they could do something. It doesn't have to be a long match. I mean, they could easily fit in a 10 or 15-minute match. I mean, they're cutting... I mean, you could easily give Big E and Sheamus 7 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't have to give Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews so much time. You can squeeze in another match. And I think this is why Drew McIntyre, to me, is a good paper champion, but I don't think he's a good champion on TV. I mean, John Cena would be on this show a week later defending it against the cameraman, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I apologize, Nebby, but we actually skipped a match.
By the way, before we go any further...
Please.
I've got another question for you. Do you think that, considering that he has an intercontinental champion ship belt, do you think that at some point there's going to be a triple threat match between the Intercontinental Champion Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, and the phenomenal AJ Styles to determine the undisputed WWE Intercontinental Champion.
Now, what I'm hoping for is that we see AJ Styles, the phenomenal AJ Styles, versus the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn. And the reason why I do hope that we get this is because I don't believe that if someone gets hurt and their championship has to be relinquished, that means that they are not a champion. I believe that person is still a champion, and whoever is holding the title in the meantime is considered an interim. I don't care what kind of match they won the title in. They didn't win it from the champion, and they're considered an interim champion to me. No matter how much I love them, no matter how much I hate them, at the end of the day, you have to beat the champ to be the champ. Okay? And Jeff Hardy didn't beat the champ. AJ didn't beat the champ. The champ got hurt. And I'm glad that we finally get Sami Zayn back, which he randomly just came from out of nowhere, Nebby. Like, he never left. It was like he went to the bathroom or something and came right back. He came back like all willy-nilly, like nothing ever happened. Like, he wasn't just gone. So I do hope at the Clash of Champions, since we're seeing champions clash, that we get this triple threat match and possibly a rematch of this triple threat match at Royal Rumble to determine the undisputed Intercontinental Champion. Yes, I do believe that, Nebby.
It sounds good to me. It'll be intriguing to see whether or not this triple threat match to determine the undisputed Intercontinental Champion is going to happen.
I just got a new message in the chat from Raven on the stream, and she says, definitely watch NXT. This point is very clear and better done, to be honest, than Raw and SmackDown, she says. Well, I'll check out NXT this week because I didn't watch it, or AEW for that matter.
By the way, guess who's a color commentator on NXT now? Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett is back in WWE?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have a Wade Barrett t-shirt. I'm about to wear my Wade Barrett t-shirt to work on Tuesday. Fantastic. Oh, man. I loved King Barrett. King Barrett was the best. So, just to give you all a heads up, in the meantime, in between time, when you all thought Wade Barrett wasn't doing anything, Wade Barrett worked for NWA Power, owned by Billy Corben, that was on YouTube every Tuesday at 6:05. Now, Billy Corben has had some issues where he's just not able to get his show up and running. So we have recently seen people from NWA Power show up on other shows. Just for instance, NWA Power Women's Champion Thunder Rosa was on AEW last week. And now Nebbe is confirming this past week Wade Barrett is in the booth on NXT. The return of one Wade Barrett, one Stu Bennett, aka Stu Bennett, is his real name. But what does that mean for the booth, Nebbe, on NXT? Do you know how many people are in that booth right now?
Yeah, well, it's 3 people. I forgot who took the play-by-play man's place. I could be wrong, but I think it's Vic Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, and Beth Phoenix.
I mean, they have a pretty crucial rotation. I mean, there's Vic Joseph, there's Beth Phoenix, there's Mauro Ranallo, there's Todd Phillips, there's Byron Saxton, and now Stu Bennett. I mean, they have like 6 people that they can go ahead and really bounce off of anytime that there's someone that can't make the show. And I think that is one thing that makes NXT's commentating pretty special. Not that the booth is crowded, but that their bench is deep. Nebby, with that being said, we have Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. Matt Riddle has really made an impact on SmackDown since he has been there and called up from NXT. I don't know your thoughts on Matt Riddle, but I would love to hear them. And also your prediction on what do you think happens between Matt Riddle and probably his toughest test in King Corbin?
I've been impressed with Matt Riddle. I think he's done a great job since being called up to SmackDown, and I think he's going to beat Baron Corbin tonight.
You know, Matt Riddle had a damn good match with Timothy Thatcher before he got called up to the main roster, and I think the momentum that he had coming from that match rolled right into his SmackDown debut and up until where he is right now. And I don't think that the that he is going to have his momentum slowed down at all tonight, even though I do believe King Baron Corbin is his toughest test to date on the main roster, minus, I mean, AJ Styles, because that was just a damn classic that they had. But after that, I mean, I think he has held himself down and really made a footprint in SmackDown. And here we go again. This could be a possible feud that we see leading up to the Royal Rumble. And possibly after at WrestleMania, where maybe King Corbin gets Matt Riddle eliminated in the Royal Rumble. I'm just calling that right now. But I'm going with Matt Riddle in this one, Nebby.
I am too. I believe Matt Riddle is going to win this match.
And Nebby, we have our first of 3 championship matches tonight. The WWE United States Champion Apollo Crews defends against Bobby Lashley, along with the Hurt Business, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin by his side. Nebby, you have seen for weeks now MVP tormenting Apollo Crews, getting into the mind of Apollo, and then Apollo overcoming and slowly taking out each member of the Hurt Business, leaving him with Bobby Lashley.
Sorry about that, C-Money. I had to take a phone call. You said we're moving on to our first of 3 champion ship. Matches.
Hell yeah, Nebby, we're getting into our first of 3 WWE Championship matches, and first up is the WWE United States Championship. Your champion, Apollo Crews, versus the big man of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, alongside with MVP and one Shelton Benjamin. Nebby, we've seen MVP torment Apollo Crews for weeks now. Also, he has recruited Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin in this business he calls the Hurt Business. This new group, this new faction that we have, and Apollo has slowly beaten MVP. He's beaten Shelton, and now he's at his toughest test in the Hurt Business. versus Bobby Lashley. Nebby, what does this mean if Apollo Crews can beat Bobby Lashley tonight in this United States Championship match?
Uh, if Apollo Crews beats Bobby Lashley to retain the United States champion ship, I'm going to be real impressed with the United States champion Apollo Crews. However, I do not believe Apollo Crews is going to retain the United States champion ship.
Uh-oh, I think Nebby got another phone call. That's okay. Hopefully he will come back in a few seconds. In the meantime, in between time, I'm just going to say that I believe I'm on Nebby's side with Apollo and being how impressed I would be with him if he can defeat Bobby Lashley, because I think these are three.
Yeah, I had to take a phone call again, but as I was saying, I do not believe Apollo Crews is going to retain the United States champion ship tonight. Earlier this summer, Bobby Lashley had a chance to become the WWE champion. Obviously, that did not happen, but I believe that tonight Bobby Lashley will become the new WWE United States champion.
Damn, I like where your head's at, Nebby. I think we're looking at a faction of three WWE legends and one possible Hall of Famer. Now, with that being said, if Apollo Crews can defeat Bobby Lashley tonight, I think that really stamps Apollo Crews. I mean, look at how many Intercontinental Championships you have between Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin combined. If you can prove that there's someone that can take out all three of those men who not only have held those titles but other titles as well, I mean, they are proven, and this should also prove that Apollo Crews is the real deal if he can defeat Bobby Lashley this evening.
Right.
I'm calling it now though.
Bobby Lashley is coming out on top in this match. I believe he'll be the new United States champion.
My bold prediction for this match is that we finally see the turn of one Cedric Alexander against Apollo Crews to cause that loss. And we're all expecting it to be the Hurt Business because they're going to be out there by ringside, but I think they'll have nothing to do with it, and it will be Cedric Alexander who joins the Hurt Business and turns Marty Jannetty-esque on Apollo Crews.
Yeah, I agree. I believe Cedric Alexander is going to join, and I believe Cedric Alexander is going to join the Hurt business. But before we go any further, I have a question for you.
Please.
Now that he has apparently turned heel, based on what we saw this past Monday night on Raw, Do you think that Aleister Black is going to join his, is going to join his wife's uh, s- uh, s- uh, 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 s- uh, 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 s- uh, uh, s- uh, s- sta- st- stable?
No, I think by turning Aleister Black heel is going to get him right into the United States Championship picture after Apollo Crews wins tonight, because Apollo is going to need a new feud, and I believe that is going to be one Aleister Black.
Oh, okay.
Nebby, we are looking at our second of three championship matches. We have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Bailey, okay, versus Sasha. Oh, I'm sorry. Bailey and the boss, the role model, the blueprint, Sasha Banks, versus the heavy hitting team, Nebby, of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Nebby, your thoughts on how Sasha and Bailey are going to try and overcome this Godzilla and Mighty Joe Young. I don't know, like it's like two Godzillas on one team. Like I just can't believe it. It's like LeBron and Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like these are some gargantuans, some Amazons, some heavy hitters they're going against tonight, Nebby.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough challenge, but considering that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler do, don't get along, I believe that Sasha Banks, and certainly could be wrong about this, but I believe that Sasha Banks and Bailey are going to retain uh, uh, the WWE Women's Tag Team uh, champion ships tonight. But I believe that at some point soon, maybe even at Clash of Champions, Bailey is going to defend the SmackDown Women's Champion uh, ship against the boss, Sasha Banks.
I think we're gonna see a rift between Nia and Shayna, so that way we get a feud between Nia and Shayna, and the winner of those become the number one contender to Bailey's Women's Championship. But I do feel like the two Slytherins of Bailey and Sasha will also find a way, like they always do, to retain their women's tag team championships. Nebby, we had a return of mass proportion at SummerSlam. Would you mind reminding the people who returned at SummerSlam?
Uh, 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 that would be the one and only big dog, uh, Roman Reigns.
With that being said, the WWE Universal Championship in a no holds barred match will be defended this evening. Your champion, Bray Wyatt, versus Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman versus Braun Strowman. Nebby, can you tell us how we got to these three men in this no holds barred match?
Yeah, well, as you said, Roman Reigns returned last week after the Universal Champion match, uh, and he attacked uh, the new Universal Champion, uh, Bray Wyatt, as well as the former Universal Champion, Braun Strowman. Um, and that is what led to this uh, triple threat match that that's going to take place tonight. Now, what, what, what do you think about Roman Reigns aligning himself with Paul Heyman?
I think it's about damn time that Paul Heyman got his hands on Roman Reigns, because this is what Roman and what WWE needed to get the fans on Roman's side. Otherwise, he would be John Cena forever, where anytime he comes out, he's going to get booed. But now that he is under the management and advisementship of one Paul Heyman, this, Nebby, is going to be the beginning of the return of the big dog, and it's going to start tonight with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman in this no holds barred match. I don't know if Paul made any predictions, but I know for a fact if he does say anything, there could be a possible few spoilers tonight before we even get to the match. So I'm going to keep my ears open and my eyes open and just see what happens, because I'm just excited that Roman is finally a heel properly. He has the guidance of Paul Heyman, and this, I think, is going to be freaking awesome. I'm just excited to see how this version of Roman Reigns turns out and how it helps his legacy. And this chapter of Roman Reigns' career with Paul Heyman is going to be, I think, one to remember.
And by the way, although I certainly could be wrong, I don't think the Fiend Bray Wyatt is going to hold the Universal Champion ship this time around for just one week. So therefore, I believe I believe that tonight the Fiend Bray Wyatt is going to win this match and therefore retain the WWE Universal Champion ship.
Well said, Nebby. I don't think I could have said it any different, to be honest with you. But with that being said, did you have anything else for the people?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by typing my full name, NEBEYUERM as in Maryland, YAS, and my Twitter name is SpursFan1080. My Twitter name is SpursFan10. SpursFan10. SpursFan1083. Oh, and by the way, that one of the teams I'm following in the NBA playoffs is my dad's Milwaukee Bucks.
Really? Your dad's Papa ERMYAS is a Milwaukee Bucks fan?
Yeah, because when my dad came to this country, he lived with an American family in Wisconsin. So my dad is a fan of all Wisconsin teams. The Packers, the Brewers, the Bucks, and the University of Wisconsin.
Shout out to them Badgers. There's some bad boys. That's cool. That's a cool story, man. I appreciate you sharing that with me and with everyone else as well. You can find me on Instagram, Victorious Sports Podcast, all one word, Victorious Sports Podcast on Instagram. I just dropped a new post yesterday. Shout out to the Dark Horses. That is on Instagram. The _dark_horses. They are the EWA Tag Team Champions, and I am their agent, C Money. And I posted yesterday some new fresh fits that they recently got, where you can check out on envyoriginal.com. envyoriginal.com. Check that out, where you can find some new Dark Horses merch, a new Grizzly O t-shirt, a new Tomahawk t-shirt at 2-time Tomahawk. That's 2XTMTH Tomahawk. Also, you can find a new Dark Horses t-shirt all on envyoriginal.com. Check that out. Last but not least, you can find your boy on Twitch, which I am streaming our podcast that I'm doing with NEBE right now live on twitch.tv/cmoney240. That is twitch.tv/cmoney240, where you can catch me streaming NBA 2K20, which will be NBA 2K21 next Friday. Also some Tony Hawk next Friday. Also some Madden soon. So please be on the lookout for that. That's twitch.tv/Mr. July 4. I'm sorry, twitch.tv/cmoney240. And of course, you can find NEBE, the irresistible force of podcasting, and your boy C Money, the what are we, the Sunday night delight of podcasting, okay? You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you can hear your favorite podcast. We are shouting out live on Anchor right now, recording our podcast. So please follow us on there. With that being said, NEBE, please, your final thoughts.
By the way, before we go,
please,
before we wrap up, just out of curiosity, when do you think Otis is going to cash in his money in the bank contract?
Otis will cash his Money in the Bank contract at WrestleMania 37 with Mandy Rose at his side. And Mandy Rose will win the 2021 Women's Money in the Bank championship, briefcase, and she will cash in, where they will both be women and men's champions at the same time. I'm calling it now. 2021 is Otis's year.
Sweet. Sweet. Can I ask you one more question?
Please.
Do you think that Alexa Bliss is about to turn heel, considering that mug that she gave her friend and tag team partner Nikki Cross this past Friday night
Uh,
on SmackDown?
I'm going to say yes. And the reason why I say yes is because Nikki has been with Alexa so long that I believe being with Alexa has gotten Nikki Cross over. And now that she's gotten the rub from Alexa, I think fans are starting to like Nikki on her own. We've seen the turn of her character as the wild, crazy, unpredictable woman to the funny and charming Nikki Cross. And I think people are ready to root for her. And because people are ready to root for her, now she can be on her own. And yes, I do unfortunately see this being the breakup of Alexa and Nikki, because I do believe they are a good tag team together. But it's her time. It's her time.
They're a great tag team together, and I'm sorry that they're going to break up. But having said that, I'm just hoping that Alexa sets her sights on once again becoming the WWE SmackDown women's champion.
Little Miss Bliss looks good in blue, so hopefully she will come back with a vengeance. But I don't think that will be soon. I think we're going to have to wait till next year for that.
Right. I agree. I agree.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, he is the irresistible force NEBE. I am C Money. And this is the Victoria Sports Podcast. We thank you all. We dedicate this episode to Chadwick Boseman. We send our love and prayers to he and his family. And NEBE, I'm going to go ahead and grab some dinner before this pre-show starts at 6 o'clock for Payback.
Sounds good. And before we wrap up, I just want to say, everybody out there, be smart. Everybody out there, be smart. And everybody out there, be smart. And be safe.
And that's the bottom line, because the irresistible force said so.